Throughout history, man has successfully coped with many seemingly intractable problems. But death has remained inescapable. Everyone who appears on this earth, no matter when, is destined to die. Man only lives until a certain day and then dies. While some die very young, some others face death in their old age. Nothing a man possesses, neither possessions, nor fortune, status, fame, grandeur, confidence, nor good looks, can repel death. Without exception, all men are feeble against death, and will always be so. The majority of people avoid thinking about death. It never occurs to them that this absolute end will befall them one day. Yet, no matter how much these people try to escape from the thought of death while they are alive, they will face the fact of death. In the Quran, this end is stated thus: "Every self will taste death. You will be paid your wages in full on the day of resurrection. Anyone who is distanced from the fire and admitted to the garden has triumphed. The life of the world is just the enjoyment of delusion." Surah Al-Imran 185. Death does not occur by chance. As is the case with all other incidents, it happens by Allah's decree. Just as the birth date of a man is predestined, so also is the date of his death. Right down to the very last second, man rushes towards that last moment, rapidly leaving behind every hour, every minute granted to him. The majority of people, however, assume death to be the last point of a logical sequence of events. Yet, death also, like life, occurs according to a destiny determined by Allah. Destiny is Allah's perfect creation of all events, past and future, in timelessness. Allah is the one who creates the concept of time and space from nothing, who keeps time and space under His control, and who is not bound by them. The sequence of events which we experienced in the past, or which we will experience in the future, is, moment by moment, planned and created in the sight of Allah. Allah creates time, thus He is not bound by it. In His sight, everything has already taken place and finished. This is similar to the images on a film strip. Just as the images on a film cannot exercise any influence on the film and change it, human beings who play their individual roles in life cannot influence the flow of events recorded on the destiny strip. Human beings have no influence whatsoever on destiny. Just the contrary. It is destiny which is the determining factor in people's lives. Man, an absolute component of destiny, is not separate and independent from it. Let alone changing destiny, man is unable to go beyond the boundaries of destiny. It is like an actor slipping out of the video cassette, acquiring a physical existence, and starting making changes in the film by deleting unfavorable scenes or adding new ones. This would surely be an irrational suggestion. For this reason, no matter whether a man thinks about it or not, he should know that the time he will face death is determined for certain in his destiny, and that his destiny is created by Allah. Trying not to think about death is no solution. On the contrary, the more he thinks about the closeness of death and works for the life in the hereafter, the better it will be for him. However, although the majority of people are extremely sensitive about the issues linked to their own interests, they display indifference towards death. Yet death ought to be a matter of paramount concern. In the Quran, this state of mind, peculiar to those who do not hold firmly to faith, is defined by Allah in one word: heedlessness. This state of mind is described in the first verse of Surah Al-Anbiya as follows: "Mankind's reckoning has drawn very close to them, yet they heedlessly turn away." Surah Al-Anbiya 1. As the verse makes clear, people approach a step closer the day of account each day. Despite this, however, in their heedlessness, they never think how they will give an account of their actions. Their attempt to close the subject when they are reminded of death their spending their lives drifting in the daily flow of events, the recurrence of births every day around them, and the belief that they can fulfill the requirements of religion in their old age anyway, are the main reasons for their heedlessness. The rationale some people hold that they can get out of hell after they receive punishment is a lie. There is no evidence for this in the Quran. In the Quran, the rationale of such people is stated as follows. They say, "The fire will only touch us for a number of days." Say, "Have you made a contract with Allah then? Allah will not break His contract. Or are you rather saying about Allah what you do not know? No, indeed. Those who accumulate bad actions and are surrounded by their mistakes are the companions of the fire, remaining in it timelessly, forever." Surah Al-Baqarah 80-81. Not thinking or deceiving oneself with distorted reasoning that is not included in the Quran is not an escape or deliverance for anybody in the world. No matter how strongly the individual resists, wherever he seeks refuge, or however he tries to escape, he will encounter his own death. He has no other choice. Ahead of him, there is no other exit. That is why we need to stop deceiving ourselves or disregarding facts and strive to earn the good pleasure of Allah during this period predetermined by Him which we call our life. Only Allah knows when this time will be over. Have you ever thought about how you will die, what death looks like, and what will happen at the moment of death? So far, nobody has appeared who died and was raised again, or who could share his actual experiences and feelings about death. This being the case, it is technically impossible to gather information regarding what death is like and what one feels at the moment of death. Allah, the one who bestows life upon man and takes it back in due course, informs us in the Quran about how death actually occurs. Thus, the Quran is the only source from which we can learn about how death really occurs and what someone who dies actually experiences and feels. When we look at the Quran, we see a very interesting fact. Death, as referred to in the Quran, is quite unlike the medical death people observe from outside. Primarily, certain verses acquaint us with events as seen by the dying person himself, which can never be perceived by others. This is related in the Surah Al-Waqi'ah. Why then, when death reaches his throat and you are at that moment looking on, we are nearer him than you, but you cannot see us. Surah Al-Waqi'ah 83-85. These events that are experienced at the moment of death will be tough for the unbelievers. The moment of death of unbelievers is stated in the Quran. If you could only see the wrongdoers in the throes of death when the angels are stretching out their hands saying, "Yield up your souls. Today you will be repaid with the punishment of humiliation for saying something other than the truth about Allah and being arrogant about His signs." Surah Al-An'am 93. Unlike the disbelievers' death, that of the believers is blissful. This fact is related in the Quran. The angels reclaim the souls of the just, saying to believers, "Peace be upon you. Enter the garden as a reward for your labors." Surah Al-Nahl 32. These verses disclose a very important and unchanging fact about death. At the moment of death, what the dying person goes through and what those nearby observe are dissimilar experiences. For instance, a disbeliever may be perceived to experience a peaceful death from outside. However, the soul in a totally different dimension now tastes death in a very painful way. Alternatively, the soul of a believer, despite seemingly suffering great pain, is taken by angels gently, as stated in the verse. In brief, the medical death of the body and the death of the soul which is referred to in the Quran are totally different events. The moment of death is a great torment for disbelievers, whereas it is a bliss for believers.